One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, right. Just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
Yeah. Editing your genes? Cool. I'll explain that later. But first, why do so many people consider this guy, Klaus Schwab, to be the most dangerous man in the world? Well, there's some reasons. A lot of them.
Yeah, of course, the unaccountable billionaire class that has been able to get away with so many crimes and bribe governments all around the world, of course, have your best interest at heart. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org, and we have a lot of absolutely wild information to get into today. As it looks like the situation in Ukraine is subsiding, there are a lot of strange anomalies here, as Russia has just officially announced its list of demands to stop this conflict immediately. We're going to be going over that, as well as a very interesting move made by the Biden White House, which of course is cozying up to Venezuela and Saudi Arabia as the price of energy is about to slap everyone across the face in a very vicious way. We're going to be talking about that plus a lot more. But before we do, the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is a short excerpt of the latest video by awakenwithjp, who has done a tremendous job about the World Economic Forum, literally trying to hack people while making them digital cyborgs. Then, of course, we'll always try to appease the technocratic overlords. Yes, I'm not kidding. That's literally what he talked about. And you should definitely watch his full video, which is going to be linked down in the description below, as it is definitely worth a watch. And then some hard consideration about the future of humanity, as of course we're dealing with a significant energy crisis, which surprisingly still has not stopped the domestic U.S.-American Freedom Convoy, which has reached Washington, D.C. in, of course, protest against the Biden administration and its continued mandates, lockdowns, and restrictions of everyday life. Lockdowns, mandates, and restrictions which have absolutely destroyed the U.S. economy, along with energy policy that has absolutely obliterated it, that has created this energy economic crisis, which has been brewing for a very long time. We have been warning you about this since the beginning of the global sickness, even more with the beginning of this Biden administration, as of course the I did that stickers have been going up at gas stations all throughout the United States for months now. But according to some corporate media outlets, a lot of this hike in gas prices, which have been going up since the beginning of this Biden administration, is all Russia's fault, which of course they do play a significant role when it comes to international energy production. And the conflict in Ukraine, of course, exacerbates this energy crisis, but it's important right now to understand this problem fully, as of course, U.S. gas prices have hit $4 a gallon. The first time since 2008, it most likely will be going up, according to some estimates, $7 a gallon, $8 a gallon, and I wouldn't be surprised if that will happen, as of course also in Europe. Their natural gas just jumped 64%, and this is still with Europe and the United States buying Russian energy. Yes, the United States and Europe still buys energy from Russia, which is financing the war machine there, which is financing the conflict in Ukraine. Now, it's important to note that the United States used to be energy independent, used to be able to explore and create and produce their own energy, specifically under a president that sent out mean tweets, who of course prioritized domestic energy production, which the current president of the United States committed to the absolute opposite of that policy. And now, in the face of this crisis, what is the United States doing? Well, they're reaching out to Iran, Venezuela, and Saudi Arabia. Countries that, according to the United States and its own States Department, have committed massive human rights violations, are absolutely unethical, and have been boycotted, sanctioned, and economically attacked by the United States because of their horrible treatment of allegedly their own citizens. This is specifically with the accusations of Venezuela and Iran. Venezuela, which now the United States sent U.S. officials to and is weighing getting rid of the sanctions against Venezuela in order, of course, increase global oil production. The White House is also considering sending Sleepy Joe all the way over to Saudi Arabia in order to convince them to produce more oil, as already oil is $130 a barrel. Saudi Arabia, which also is committing massive amounts of human rights violations and atrocities in Yemen, has of course a cozier relationship with the United States, but right now they are raking in the profits, and obviously it is in their financial interest to limit the oil production on the world stage, since of course that means more profits for them, since that means the price of oil will keep going up. This is, by the way, the US's ally in the region, who, unless are going to be bribed in a very specific way, will absolutely be not easing the price of oil, which is only going to make the price go up higher, as some financial forecasts are saying that we are going to be reaching recession-level highs that could even be a threat to the U.S. economy, which, according to global energy analyst Stephen Struck, the Biden administration has, quote, no solutions to stop it. And we have to ask ourselves, do they? Well, very interestingly, the president before him didn't have any kind of problems surrounding U.S. energy production, exploration, discovery, and production, as of course now even Elon Musk, a man who is working in the electric car industry, a man who is not incentivized to profit off of this policy, which he's calling for, is specifically saying that the United States needs more oil and gas and needs to produce it themselves. This is the man with a solar company saying specifically, quote, hate to say it, but we need to increase oil and gas output immediately. Extraordinary times demand extraordinary measures. Obviously, this would negatively affect Tesla, but sustainable energy solutions simply cannot react instantaneously to make up for Russian oil and gas exports. And even though I've been partly critical of him, I have to agree with Elon Musk here. We're dealing with a definite extraordinary, insane situation where a lot of countries are shooting themselves in the foot. Not just the United States, but also Germany, that just got rid of the majority of their nuclear power plants, as of course they're importing oil and gas from Russia. Elon Musk also had something to say about this, saying specifically, quote, hopefully it is now extremely obvious that Europe should restart dormant nuclear power stations and increase power output of existing ones. This is critical to national and international security, and I absolutely agree with him. Since, of course, if the price of energy goes up, so does the price of food. The price of food has already been going up astronomically. It will only get worse from here, as even China is trying to warn the world, saying that their winter wheat conditions could be the worst in history. This, as an estimated 73% of Americans are overweight or obese, and as global tensions heat up, we have to start asking ourselves some serious questions about the larger consequences here. As, of course, no one is listening, and this problem will only get that much worse from here. And hey, that's why I'm personally preparing, and I'm going to be talking about that plus a lot more later on today on LukeUncensored.com. If you haven't joined our platform yet, what are you waiting for? We have 3 masterclasses available to you: the Apocalypse Survival Training Drills, the Expatting Travel Hacking Class, and of course Change Media University, which is all available to members, along with exclusive merchandise only available to people who sign up. We're going to be expanding merchandising, expanding classes here. We're doing one in the works right now with the Sustainable Farmer, so we could teach you exactly how to grow your own food, produce nutritious, healthy alternatives against the larger corporate food producing psyops out there. As of course, information is key towards traversing these insane, unstable times, which of course is the main topic that we're going to be discussing today on LukeUncensored.com. Click the link down in the description below to find out more and sign up. Now, the situation in Ukraine is still developing. It's very fast moving. There's a lot of fake news. There's a lot of disinformation out there, as of course a lot of people are prioritizing political power over the actual human price and toll being paid paid by the innocent people caught up in this political madness. The latest information we're getting is that Ukraine has just rejected a, quote, unacceptable proposal to evacuate their civilians to Russia. Ukraine is also reporting that over 400 civilians have had their lives ended in this conflict, as an estimated 1.5 million people have left Ukraine, which has a population of over 40 million people. Now, surprisingly, this conflict might end very soon, as Russia has just announced 3 conditions, if Ukraine agrees to, that will immediately cease and stop this conflict from happening. As the first demand is that Ukraine change its constitution and reject any claims to any kind of bloc, including NATO and the European Union. The second provision is that Ukraine must recognize Crimea as a Russian state and allow water to its territory. And third, Russia demands that the state of Donetsk and Lugansk, the Donbass region, be declared independent states. And Russia has stated that if these conditions are met, their military action will stop in a moment. This is the original reporting that we're getting right now. Will Ukraine accept this deal? Will they be able to stop this conflict immediately? Will Russia keep its word and agree to these conditions and not lie like other world powers have throughout human history? As of course, war is filled with a lot of deception. Now, the bigger question that also needs to be asked, does Ukraine have an incentive to stop this conflict? As of course, we are getting a lot of photos and videos of a lot of Russian hardware being absolutely obliterated. A surprising amount so. Some of the hardware, of course, more modern, some of it from, of course, the 1970s, which raises the larger question, did Putin just totally not prepare for this? What's his reasoning? What's his thinking? Which of course, is showing a strategy that a lot of military analysts are specifically questioning. And the more videos we're getting with abandoned tanks, destroyed convoys, it does seem like Russia has been on the losing side of this entire conflict and has either deliberately or not deliberately sent in old hardware, unprepared soldiers, as we're also getting reports that their supply chains have been cut. And in previous wars and in previous conflicts, communication and energy has been cut by the invading force. And of course, none of that was done by the Russians, leaving a lot of people bewildered about this situation, as of course even US intelligence agencies were saying that Russia was going to take over Kiev in a matter of 3 days. It's been over 11 days now, and it does look like the Russian casualties are adding up. There are also protests against the war inside of Russia. Russia has been arresting everyone who has been participating in those, and of course the Russian market is also forced in a transition from many multinational corporations that are rejecting it, moving away from its markets, which of course will only allow China to step in and become more integrated with Russia. China, which of course many of these Western companies do business with, and now will only treat as a middleman, only empowering China even more, as of course they're only going to be raking in more profits from here. China has also publicly warned the United States not to, quote, add fuel to the flames, and said that the United States is playing with fire when specifically talking about Taiwan. China, of course, has not imposed sanctions on Moscow and most likely will be doing more business with them, which I think is some important context that people should consider, especially understanding the full spectrum of what's going on here in this very complicated fog of war that a lot of us are just trying to make sense of. But leaving the question up to you, what do you think Russia's strategy is here? Were they underprepared? Are they doing a soft-handed approach here? Is there a bigger move that they're going to be making soon that's going to make sense of a lot of this? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. I got one more video coming your way on LukeUncensored.com talking about a lot of the harsher realities, especially financially, coming our way, as of course things are getting very serious. If you thought I helped you understand this other craziness in some kind of way, share this video with your friends and family members. It's one of the few ways that these videos actually do get out there to the general public. There's another video I did that will help you understand this situation, which you could watch by clicking here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.